Hi, I'm Richard Murphy, and this is the 17th in the video series on the importance of tax transparency that I am hosting, and which is being made jointly by the University of Sheffield, where I work as Professor of Accounting Practice, the Global Initiative for Fiscal Transparency, and the International Budget Partnership. In this video, we are exploring the importance of value-added taxes within any tax system. Few states can now survive without a value-added tax, so planning one transparently is important, not least because the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank usually require that states now have one in consideration of any support that they might supply. More than 150 countries around the world now have a value-added tax. The one notable exception is the USA, although many US states have a sales tax instead. Value-added taxes are levied on transactions in a way that is designed to cumulatively tax added value within a jurisdiction, with the intention that the burden of the tax should only eventually fall on the end consumer of the goods or services supplied to them. This is achieved by charging VAT in a number of ways. Firstly, it is charged on imports into a jurisdiction, and more importantly, it is charged on the sales of VAT-registered traders within that jurisdiction. The problem with this is VAT is not an easy tax to understand. Who has to be registered for VAT is not always clear, and why VAT is fair when only consumers, in the main, pay it is not easy for many people to understand. Tax transparency requires that all these issues be explained by a tax authority. The problems with tax transparency around VAT are compounded when the range of goods and services on which VAT is charged differ within and between states. It is common for VAT to be charged at several rates. There is usually a full or standard rate that is applied to most goods and services, but there are commonly one or two more reduced rates of tax. There can also be a 0% tax rate, which means that tax is charged but nothing is due. And finally, there can be an exempt tax rate. The full or standard rate is the default charge, but reduced rates are often used for foodstuffs, basic household utilities like energy and water, some items of clothing, particularly for children, rents and other charges for housing, medical and education services. Some services are also exempt from VAT. These often include banking, finance and insurance. This means they don't charge VAT at all, but it also means they cannot reclaim VAT as a registered trader can, and that VAT that they are charged therefore becomes a cost of their business. What is vital is that a state engages the public in a transparent decision-making process on how and why decisions on what tax rates might be used are made. Reasons for reduced rates are, for example, to reduce the impact of VAT on vulnerable communities, to ensure essential services are not prejudiced by a tax charge, and to relieve poverty as a result. This does need explanation, and the operation of the VAT system of a jurisdiction also requires very careful and transparent management. In particular, it is vital that explanations be made available on why the level of sales income at which VAT registration is required has been set as it is. What is required of VAT registered traders, including necessary record keeping, how VAT returns are to be made, how VAT is to be paid over by registered traders, what penalty regimes will apply, as abuse rates with regard to this tax can be high, exceeding 30% in some European countries, how transactions will be taxed when dual currencies are in use in a jurisdiction. VAT is a tax where, if it is to be successful, it is vital that the government of a jurisdiction invest heavily in its tax authority to ensure that all its staff fully understand this tax. Advice is readily available to VAT registered traders. Information on the intricacies of applying the tax is available in a user-friendly manner, including in all languages VAT registered traders are likely to use. A readily accessible appeal system is available so that VAT disputes can be easily and speedily resolved, with others having the opportunity to learn from the decisions made during those appeal processes. VAT is taxed at the moment that a transaction takes place. It is very hard to correct it afterwards. It is vital that there is transparency about this tax as a result. If there is not, tax morale will be harmed, and that cannot be afforded when it comes to VAT.